Panthers. So today we're going to look at multiplying polynomials day 1. So going back to exponents. When multiplying exponents, if the bases are the same, we're going to keep the base and we're going to add our exponents. And so we're going to distribute the 3/4 x to everything inside the parentheses. And so we're going to multiply 3/4 times 12. And so remember, when you're multiplying 3/4 times 12, you can do early division. 12 divided by 4, and that's going to give you 3, and 3 times 3 is going to give you 9. If the bases are the same, you're going to keep your bases. So our bases are x, and we're going to add the exponents. So we're going to have 3 plus 1, and that's going to give us 4. A negative times a positive is going to give us a negative. 3/4 times a -8 is going to give us a -6. X times x, if the bases are the same, we keep the base and we're going to add 1 plus 1, and that gives us 2. Distribute the 3/4 x to a positive 16. A positive times a positive is a positive. 3/4 times 16, you would have 3/4 times 16. Do early division, this becomes a 4, and then we are left with a 12. And then, of course, we attach the x. You want to make sure that you have the highest exponent first, and then you end with your lowest exponent. So it goes 4, a 2, and the 1. And so we are okay. On number 2, we're going to distribute the -1/3 x to everything inside parentheses. And so you would take a third of 9. And a negative times a positive is going to give you a negative. Basically, that's 9 divided by 3, and so that's 3. X times x squared, if the bases are the same, you keep your base and we'll add the exponents. There's a 1 here, so 2 plus 1 is going to give us 3. A negative times a positive is a negative. -1/3 times 3 is going to give us 1x squared. A negative and a negative is a positive, and then 6 times 1/3 is going to give us 2x. Make sure that you have the correct order. On number 3, we are going to distribute the 3x to the 4x and the 3x to the -2x. Each one of these has an exponent of a 1, so 3 times 4 is 12. X times x, if the bases are the same, we keep the base and we add 1 plus 1 is 2. 3 times a -2 is a -6, and we attach the x. Now we want to make sure we distribute the -2 to both of these numbers inside parentheses. And so we'll have a -4x squared. A -2 times a +3 is a -6, and we attach the x. And now we want to go clean it up, and we want to combine our like terms. And so we're looking for all our x squares. And so we're going to subtract the coefficients. So we have 12 minus 4, which is 8. X squared, you do not do anything with the exponents when you are combining like terms, and you have a -6x minus -6x minus -6x is going to give you a -12x, and that is your answer. Over here, I'm going to distribute this very first x to the first x inside parentheses, and so I have x times x, which gives me x squared. I'm going to distribute the x to the 2 inside the parentheses. So this first x gets distributed to everything inside the parentheses, and I'll have a positive 2x. Now I have to go in and distribute this 4 to everything inside the second set of parentheses, and I get a plus 4x. And now I'll distribute that 4 to the 2. So everything inside the parentheses is distributed, and that's plus 8. Very important for you to draw your arrows. I want to go in and clean this up and make it smaller and combine my like terms. And so I have x squared plus 2x plus 4x, and that's x squared plus 6x plus 8. So now I'm going to take the first term over here, and I'm going to distribute it with this first term over here. So now I have x times x, and I get x squared. Now I will take this first term and I will multiply it by this last term. And so x times a -3 is going to give me a -3x. Now I'm going to multiply the inner terms. Notice the language that I'm talking the inner terms, and that is going to be a positive times a positive, which is going to give me a positive 7x. And then this last term of my first parentheses and the last term, so a positive times a negative is going to give me a negative 21. So each one of these x's I will give to the x, I will give to the negative 3. I will give 7 to everything inside the parentheses I have distributed. Now I'm going to go in and combine my like terms or my middle terms, and now I have x squared plus 4x minus 21. So all I have done is distributed. Once again, I will start with my first term, so I'm going to give the x to the second set of parentheses, so x times x. The bases are the same, they only have an exponent of a 1, so that becomes x squared. I'm going to distribute this x to the negative 5 in parentheses, and that becomes a negative 5x. I am done distributing this x to the second set of parentheses, so now I have to go give this negative 3 to that x. So a negative times a positive is a negative 3x. Super important to make sure you keep your signs. A negative 3 times a negative 5 is a positive 15. We're going to go in and clean up, combine our like terms. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 15. All right, I will do one more. So number 7, the only thing that is different with this problem right here is that rather than having x's, now we have a coefficient. And so we're going to give the 2x to the 3x, which is that first number. So I'll multiply the first terms. So I'm going to have 2 times 3, and 2 times 3 is 6. Then I will multiply the x times the x, so x times x, if the bases are the same, I will multiply them, and that's going to be x, and add the exponents. Now I'm going to give the 2x to that second number in parentheses, so I'll draw my arrow there. I do this every time. So then 2x's times a positive 5, so I'll multiply 2 times 5, and that's going to be plus 10, attach my x. Now I'm ready to go in and make sure that I distribute the 4 to the two numbers inside the parentheses. So now I'll take the positive 4 and multiply it by a plus 3x, and so 4 times 3 is 12x. And then I'll take 4 times a positive 5, and that's going to be a 20x. Then we want to go combine like terms, and I have a 10x and a 12x, which are my middle terms, and that becomes 6x squared plus 22x plus 20x. All right, how about if you go do number 8 and we'll compare answers. All right, you should have come up with 6x squared plus 8x minus 8. All right, looking at number 9, it says find the area of a rectangle with a length of 6x and a width of 3x minus 5. So we're always going to draw a picture. So we have a rectangle right here. It says find the area, so we're looking for inside. The area is inside. And we have a length of 8x and a width of 3x minus 5. So our formula is area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. So we always draw a picture when possible. We write a formula. And then we go ahead and plug in. So the area of a rectangle, because that's what we're looking for, we have our length, which is 8x, and our width, which is 3x minus 5. So this means we're going to multiply. So we have to give this 8x to the 3x. We're going to distribute that. And then we're going to distribute the 8x to the negative 5. So the area of a rectangle, we're going to multiply our coefficients. So 8 times 3 is going to be 24. X times x. If the bases are the same, we're going to keep the base and add our exponents. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And then a positive 8 times a negative 5 is a negative 40. And then we have to attach our x. And area is always units squared. The last one, find the area of a rectangle with a length of 3x minus 2 and a width of 4x plus 6. So basically we have a rectangle, and I have a length of 3x minus 2, and I have a width of 4x plus 6, and I'm looking for this area inside here. So my area, once again, my formula. So the area of a rectangle is 3x minus 2 times my 4x plus 6. Now I have to go simplify that. I can't leave it like that. So I'm going to distribute that. So I'm going to give the 3x to the 4x. So I have to multiply that. So 3 times 4 is 12. The x times the x is x squared. I'm going to distribute the 3x to the 6. So 3 times 6 is a positive 18. Attach my x. I'll distribute the negative 2 to the 4x. So these are my inner. Negative 2 times the 4x is a negative 8x. And then our last is to give the negative 2 to that very last 6, which is a negative 2, times a positive 6, which is a negative 12. And then go combine your inner terms, and you'll have 12x squared plus 10x minus 12, and that's going to be units squared. Okay, so looking at some homework problems, I will look at number 2 with you. So I'm going to distribute this 3x to the 5x squared. So I'm going to distribute the 3x to the 5x squared. So 3 times 5 is going to be 15. X times x squared. So if the bases are the same, you keep the base. And then I'm going to add 2 plus 1, and so that's going to be 3. We're going to distribute the 3x to the negative x. And so a positive times a negative is a negative 3. X times x is x squared. 3 times 4 is a positive 12, and attach your x. And then you want to make sure that these are written in order from the highest exponent to the lowest exponent, and that you cannot combine, and I can't, so that is complete. So that's number 2. Let's look at number 9. Going to distribute the 2x to the 4x. So 2 times 4 is 8. X times x is x squared. Distribute the 2x to the 5. So 2 times 5 is a positive 10. Attach your x. Distribute the 3 to the form x, and that's going to be 12x. And distribute the 3 to the 5, and that's going to be a positive 15. Combine your inners, and that's going to be 8x squared plus 22x plus 15, and that is your answer. And the rest are just like finding your homework. Looking down at number 14, it says, what is the sum? Sum means we're going to add. So I'll have 6m squared minus 5m plus 4. Since that is a polynomial, I'll put it in parentheses. And I will add 7m squared plus 2m minus 5. Now this parentheses is not going to change anything, so I'll drop my parentheses. 6m squared minus 5m plus 4 plus 7m squared plus 2m minus 5. I'll combine my like terms. So 6m squared plus 7m squared will give me 13m squared. Combine all my m's. So we'll have a negative 5 plus 2, which is a negative 3m. And then we have our 4 minus 5, which is a negative 1. That didn't turn out very good. That's a minus 1. All right. Good luck. I'll see you on Google Meets.